What's up, everybody? I'm back, and I promise we're going to move on from Abraham's servant today. So we get there. Abraham's servant completes his mission. He brings back Rebekah. It says when they're on their way back, they're riding through, and they see someone out on the plain praying. And it was Isaac. And it says Rebekah jumped down off her camel and went and met Isaac, and they embraced. Mission accomplished. Isaac now has a wife. Now, what is, at the time, let's remember, we're still in the middle of building Abraham's nation that God had promised him. So obviously that he said he was going to build through Isaac. So as we read here, we see that the problem was that Rebekah, the one that we know 100% that God chose for Isaac, just based on what we've been talking about. Servant asked for a sign, he got the sign. This is the woman, there's no question about it. It's her. It says that she was barren for 20 years. She couldn't have kids. Wait a minute. God has promised Abraham that through Isaac his descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky. God has provided the wife. No question about it. This is her. But she can't have kids. What does that reveal to us about God? Let's remember, I've kind of gotten off of what I said we were going to focus on. What does that reveal to us about God? Well, that's pretty simple. He doesn't work on my timeline. He doesn't meet my expectations. Things happen in our life, and we're exactly where we need to be. Let's remember that. Isaac was exactly where he needed to be. Abraham did not want him to leave the promised land. He did not. Abraham did not, and all of this was through instruction of God, did not want him to intermarry with the Canaanites because he knew that they were evil and they were not of God's people. He did not. Abraham sent his servant to his family to get a wife who God chose, clearly revealed, came back. He's with that wife. Now it's time to fulfill God's promise. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. But it hadn't happened yet. It's not my timing. It was not Isaac's timing. It was not Abraham's timing. It was God's timing. And God has no concept of time. Yeah, he knows what it means in our life. But in his, there is no time. He is outside the continuum of time. If he was not, then he would not be God. If he was not outside the continuum of time, what we read about creation is false. Because it says that God was. God is. God always will be. So time is of little importance to him. Here's the other part. His time says, as we read on, it says after 20 years, when Rebekah was 60 years old, she became pregnant with twins. Now, I don't know about you. I'm going to be 50 soon. I don't want no twins when I'm 60 years old. That's a young man's game. But that was God's timing. She had the promised children were on the way. Continuing on with that theme that God's ways are not our ways, what does he tell Rebekah? You're going to have twins. But the youngest is going to be greater than the oldest. That was contrary to custom, of human custom. The oldest always received the greatest portion of the inheritance. But God is telling Rebekah, the youngest is going to be greater than the oldest. The oldest will not receive his birthright, and it will benefit the youngest. We will see that as a recurring theme as we continue on through the book of Genesis, where the older brother gets skipped over for the benefit of the younger brother. We'll see it more than once. Why is that? That's a foreshadowing to what happened to us. Our older brother, if you're a Christian, who's your first brother? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ surrendered his birthright, came to the earth, died, was raised again on the third day, so that we could have the same birthright as him. He surrendered. He said, I'll give mine up. I'll go to earth. I'll give mine up so that Kevin can receive the same birthright I have, to be my adopted brother. I will sacrifice for him. Now in Genesis, sometimes the older brother sacrificed on purpose, but most of the time it wasn't. It was for God's will. It's the same thing with Jesus. He sacrificed it for God's will. This was God's purpose for him coming to earth, so that I could receive an equal birthright with my older brother, to be called sons of God. So, Jacob will be greater than Esau. But as we read on here, we see that that was not the case with their father. It says that Esau was the favorite because he was more like him. And we'll begin this pattern of seeing favoritism in the Israelite family. Favoritism. Human favoritism has no point with God. Doesn't matter to him. God's will be done. Period. The question is, will we patiently wait on it? Now we're going to talk about Jacob more next time. But as we'll see this, we'll see that Jacob is going to lose his patience. Rebekah is going to lose her patience. God had promised her something was going to happen, and she kind of takes things into her own hands because because she loses patience. Hey, I believe we've seen that before. I believe Abraham took things in his own hand. It didn't work out well. But we'll talk about that more next time. What is God's character in these verses? It's patient. We have to be patient. He is patient. If he wasn't patient, I would already be doomed to hell. He's patient with me. He gave me more than one opportunity to accept Jesus Christ. His patience is exceedingly and abundantly above anything we can imagine. We're living it right now. If he wasn't a patient God, this earth wouldn't be here. Think about how evil it is right now. He's patient, and what he wants from us, his children, is to inherit that trait from him. It's not easy. I promise you it's not easy. And the only way you develop patience is by practicing it. Accepting that it's going to be tested. And you're going to have to be patient. That's not me. I'm not good at it. But let me tell you something. I am so much more patient now than I was 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And that's God developing that in me. You can say, well, Kevin, you're just older, and when you get older, you're more patient. That's not true. I can tell you there's times that I am definitely not more patient when I'm trying to do something that I could easily do before and I can't do it now. I lose patience. So it's not a product of getting older. It is a product of God working in your life. I got a 19-year-old boy that has tested my patience time and time again. It's not his fault. He can't help it. But I can clearly see that now, that God is working in me to say, I'm going to use that boy to develop your patience. And he did. And I wish he developed it a different way. Yeah, a lot of times I do. But doesn't matter. His ways, not my ways. So, see how he's working in your life today. How is he trying to develop your patience? Because we can all use a little bit more patience for the people around us, so that we can offer them the same mercy that we have received. God bless you. I hope you're having a great day. I hope it continues. See ya.